It hath been heretofore my chance to see horsemen with martial order shifting camp, to onset sallying, or in muster ranged, or in retreat sometimes outstretched for flight, light-armed squadrons and fleet foragers scouring thy plains, Arezzo. Have I seen, and clashing tournaments, and tilting justs, now with the sound of trumpets, now of bells, tabors, or signals made from castle heights, and with inventions multiform, our own, or introduct from foreign land, but ne'er to such a strange recorder I beheld, in evolution moving, horse, nor foot, nor ship, that tack by sign from land or star. With the 10 demons on our way we went, a fearful company. But in the church with saints, with gluttons at the tavern's mess. Still earnest on the pitch I gazed, to mark all things whatever the chasm contained, and those who burned within. As dolphins, that, in sign to mariners, heave high their arched backs, that thence forewarned they may advise to save their threatened vessels, so, at intervals, to ease the pain his back some sinner showed, then hid more nimbly than the lightning glance. E'en as the frogs, that of a watery moat stand at the brink, with the jaws only out, their feet and of the trunk all else concealed, thus on each part the sinners stood, but soon as Barbaricia was at hand, so they drew back under the wave. I saw, and yet my heart doth stagger, one, that waited thus, as it befalls that oft one frog remains, while the next springs away, and Graphiacan, who of the fiends was nearest, grappling seized his clotted locks, and dragged him sprawling up, that he appeared to me an otter. Each already by their names I knew, so well when they were chosen, I observed, and marked how one the other called. O Rubicant! See that his hide thou with thy talons flay, shouted together all the cursed crew. Then I informed thee, Master. If thou may, what wretched soul is this, on whom their hand his foes have laid? My leader to his side approached, and whence he came inquired, to whom was answered thus, Born in Navarre's domain my mother placked me in a lord's retinue, for she had borne me to a Lozalville, a spendthrift of his substance and himself. The good King Thibaut after that I served, to peculating here my thoughts were turned, whereof I give account in this dire heat. Straight Siriato, from whose mouth a tusk issued on either side, as from a boar, ripped him with one of these. Twixt evil claws the mouse had fallen, but Barbaricia cried, seizing him with both arms, Stand thou apart, while I do fix him on my prong transpirct. Then added, turning to my guide his face, Inquire of him, if more thou wish to learn, ere he again be rent. My leader thus, Then tell us of the partners in thy guilt, knowest thou any sprung of Latian land under the tar? I parted, he replied, but now from one, who sojourned not far thence, so were I under shelter now with him. Nor hook nor talon then should scare me more. Too long we suffer, Libicaco cried, then, darting forth a prong, seized on his arm, and mangled bore away the sinewy part. Him Dragonazzo by his thighs beneath would next have caught, whence angrily their chief, turning on all sides round, with threatening brow restrained them. When their strife a little ceased, of him, who yet was gazing on his wound, my teacher thus without delay inquired, Who is the spirit, from whom by evil hap parting, as thou hast told, thou camest ashore? It was the friar Gamada, he rejoined, he of Galura, vessel of all guile, who had his master's enemies in hand, and us them so that they commend him well. Money he took, and them at large dismissed. So he reports, and in each other charge committed to his keeping, played the part of barterer to the height, with him doth herd the chief of Lagadoro, Michel Zanche. Sardinia is a theme, whereof their tongue is never weary. Out! Alas! Behold that other, how he grins! More would I say, but tremble lest he mean to maul me sore. Their captain then to Farfarello turning, who rolled his moony eyes in act to strike, rebuked him thus, Off! Cursed bird! Avaunt! If ye desire to see or hear, he thus quaking with dread resumed, or Tuscan spirits or Lombard, I will cause them to appear. Meantime let these ill talons bait their fury, so that no vengeance they may fear from them, and I, remaining in this selfsame place, will for myself but one, make 7 appear, when my shrill whistle shall be heard, for so our custom is to call each other up. Cagnazzo at that word deriding grinned, then wagged the head and spake, "Hear his device, mischievous as he is, to plunge him down." Whereto he thus, who failed not in rich store of nice-wove toils, mischief forsooth extreme, meant only to procure myself more woe. No longer Alicino then refrained, but thus, the rest gainsaying, him bespake, "If thou do cast thee down, I not on foot will chase thee, but above the pitch will beat my plumes. Quit we the vantage ground, and let the bank be as a shield, that we may see if singly thou prevail against us all." Now, reader, of new sport expect to hear. They each one turned his eyes to the other shore, he first, who was the hardest to persuade. The spirit of Navarre chose well his time, planted his feet on land, and at one leap escaping disappointed their resolve. Them quick resentment stung, but him the most, who was the cause of failure. In pursuit he therefore sped, exclaiming, "Thou art caught." But little it availed, terror outstripped his following flight, the other plunged beneath, and he with upward pinion riced his breast, e'en thus the waterfowl, when she perceives the falcon near, dives instant down, while he enragged and spent retires. That mockery in Calcabrina fury stirred, who flew after him, with desire of strife inflamed, and, for the barterer had scapt, so turned his talons on his comrade. O'er the dike in grapple close they joined, but the other proved a goshawk able to rend well his foe. And in the boiling lake both fell. The heat was umpire soon between them, but in vain to lift themselves they strove, so fast were glued their pennons. Barbariccia, as the rest, that chance lamenting, for in flight dispatched from the other coast, with all their weapons armed. They, to their post on each side speedily descending, stretched their hooks toward the fiends, who floundered, inly burning from their scars, and we departing left them to that broil.